you come and look round here, come and have a look, you can see that it's just made out of a standard wind cheater. I bought 2 of them for under £10, so this is under 20 quid, okay? I got a bit of old ribbing from one of my last tutorials to come across here. It actually, as you'll see when we do the tutorial, looks really good when you stop at this stage. Without this, that looks really cool as well. But I wanted something a bit more practical for when I ride the bike, so I needed something to cover me at the back. So I put half of the other wind cheater has gone onto the bottom. So that's what we're going to do today, except we're going to do it in red. There's my red wind cheater. So we're going to make it out of this wind cheater. We've got these brilliant Go Faster stripes down here. Okay, so let's get started. Right, so what we need to do, we need to locate where our waist is. The brilliant thing about my projects is that you hardly ever need a pattern, okay? I'm going to locate where my waist is, the back waist, which is there, but allowing for the ribbing, and for those of you that don't know what ribbing is this stuff here, it's the edging, okay? So that's where my waist is. I'm going to go a little bit higher, like that. Can't see if I've made a mark. I'll find out in a minute. Right, okay, so we get that off. So I've chalked out where the back is. I'll just go over it a little bit more. Now what we're going to do, because we've got these big zippy pockets here, which are really nice, but they're going to be difficult for me to sew over. So I've got that there. I'm going to come across like that. Come across like that. Okay, I need to come up. I'll pull this out. I want to keep that because that's a really nice bit of detail. I'm going to come up from the front, allowing a little bit for my seam allowance, and I'm going to do a nice gradual angle coming clear of that pocket up to there. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I want to keep this bit of string because that's a nice bit of detail there. So if I gather that up there. Right, off we go, centre front, coming past this very bulky pocket. Let's move that out of the way, get out of the way there. Right, so coming up to this point here. This line here that I made with the chalk, cut, 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 cut. Cut, 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 cut. Okay, and do the same on the other side. I'm going to pull that out. It will probably fall out, but we'll stitch it back in again, don't worry. Right, take this away and keep it. Keep all your leftovers because really, you will use them for another tutorial. Okay, so you end up with a shape like this. Look, you see I've lost my bit of string. String, where are you, string? Okay, got it here. Right, okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, because otherwise we'll just be constantly chasing these bits of string around, we're going to stitch them in now, okay? So, sewing machine. Oh, crush the chalk. Go away, chalk. Right. I'm going to stitch them in now. So stick it under the machine and just go backwards and forwards on it. Okay. Right, I'm going to try it on just so you can see what's going on. So put it on, if there's anything left of it. So can you see, we've sort of cut a kind of arch shape. Now what we're going to do, we're going to gather that with our biggest stitch. Let me have a look. It's really amazing like that, isn't it? Right, so we're going to gather it. But you've got to look, you've got to watch carefully where we're gathering it. So we're going from side seam to side seam. We're not gathering the whole lot, just the side seam. So, biggest stitch on your sewing machine. Get it under there. Biggest stitch. You don't go backwards and forwards for gathering because you need to be able to pull the threads, okay? Right, we're off. Go. Gathering. Really, gathering is not rocket science, okay? Come down and have a look. All that we do when we use the biggest stitch, we didn't go backwards and forwards, okay? All that we do, you can pull either the top stitch or the bottom stitch, but you can't pull both of them, okay? Because then it's just not going to move. I'm pulling the top stitch. Look what I'm doing. I'm just pulling it and see, it just gathers. When I made these puff sleeves, that's all I did. You just gather it. It's nothing at all. So I'm going to gather it and then I'm going to try it on. So I'm going to gather it lots and lots and then I'm going to try it on. Now I don't usually do up my coats. I don't like doing up coats. I don't know, I feel too restricted in them. But just in case you do, make sure you haven't gathered it too much. I've got to look in the mirror because I need to make sure that it's okay. All right, that seems okay to me. Right, yeah, it's great, isn't it? Right, so now we're going to do the ribbing. Right, so this is the ribbing. In order for me to get this ribbing, I don't care where it comes from, so long as it's cheap. So I bought this tank top, £2 from a charity shop. It was £2 because it's got these moth-eaten holes here, which hopefully won't eat the ribbing actually. Anyway, it could be a cardigan, jumper, anything. So this part is going to be this part on the rain mat. So what we've got to do, you lay it out nice and flat. We've got to cut it, but cut it and allow ½ an inch, which is centimetre and a half. Seam allowance, right, yes. Okay, so off we go, just trim that off. You could just buy ribbing from a haberdashery suppliers, but I'm treating you as if you don't have a haberdashery supplier near you. And basically, fabric, haberdashery is everywhere, okay? So, I'm going to open it up here. Can I unpick that? Right, so I'm going to unpick it here. Now if you unpick it, then you retain some of their nice finished off edging. And basically, where this is going to go is in this lovely arch that we made earlier. Now the first thing that you do, listen to this carefully, okay, because you really do need to do that in this order. Stretch it as much as possible. You're going to start right down here. Stretch it as much as possible as you sew, and you're going to stop here at the side seam. That's important. You stop at the side seam and then you begin on the other side, really stretch as you go, and you're going to stop at that side seam, okay? And then we'll talk again. So let's go to the sewing machine. Right sides together, right sides together. Sewing machine on. And off we go. Ah, can you just come and look at this? Right, when you're sewing something like this, you don't put it together like that. You've got to put it at a slight angle like that. Just take my word for it. But I mean, if you do want me to explain, it's because where you're going is at an angle, so when you turn it over, it will show. Right, so going backwards and forwards at the beginning. And I'm going to really stretch as I sew. Let's go. You don't need pins. And you don't need Bonder web, we're just going to stretch. Stretch. And really stretch. I can't emphasise that enough. Stretch, stretch, stretch as you go. Not the wind sheeter, the ribbing. A little speeded up. Right, you're going to stop just before that side seam, okay? Stop before the side seam. They go backwards and forwards. And do you remember what I said? You've got to start on the other side now. So we do the same on the other side. You need, when you sew the other side, don't turn the fabric over. You always sew with the ribbing on the top, okay? Because you need to stretch the ribbing, and you can't really do that when it's underneath. You can, but it's really tricky. Okay. Tidy, neat and tidy. Cut off all your threads. Now don't worry that this is all gathering, because we'll press that all out afterwards. So the reason why I get you to do it that way, so you can see how much ribbing you've got left over, and you can ease, which means loosen or tighten the gathering accordingly. Now I know that I want my gathering to be a bit tighter than that, so I'm just going to gather it a bit more. Like that. And then we go back to the machine again, always with the ribbing on the top. I just want to recap on what we've done so far, okay? We've attached the ribbing, down the left side, we've attached it down the right side, and we stretched that ribbing as much as possible.